Loki has shown that he is the god of mischief for a good reason, whether by tricking powerful enemies or showing up just in time. And every time he shows up, it's hard to tell how he'll mess things up, and this trait has clearly made fans love him. That's why today we're going to talk about some of Loki's best moments in the MCU, so sit back and relax.
Hello. Which one of us are you?
Starting off with his sacrifice in Avengers Infinity War. Even when Loki knows he's about to lose, he still does everything he can to make sure he goes out with a bang. When Thanos and his army attack the Asgardians and invade the Statesmen, we see Loki put his own life in danger to make sure Thor lives to fight another day. And when Thanos tells Loki that he will kill him, Loki mocks him, and being the god of mischief he is, says that his plan with the Infinity Gauntlet will never happen. But even though his death is sad and painful, Loki remains stubborn and doesn't bow to the Mad Titan.
You should choose your words more carefully.
Next up, turning the Avengers against each other in The Avengers. Loki doesn't always have to do much to get what he wants. Sometimes all he needs are a few choices of words, a stressful situation, and a little help from the Mind Stone to throw the Avengers a curveball. We saw Loki take advantage of Black Widow's fear of the Hulk to turn the current Avengers' uneasy alliance into a hostile one, and his scepter staff makes everyone's negative feelings even worse, which leads to a Bruce Banner losing it, resulting in a full-blown fight between the Earth's mightiest heroes. His plan works so well that it takes the Avengers' attention away long enough for him to get ahead of them. And what's impressive about this is the fact that he did all of this from his prison cell.
I was a king. The rightful king of Asgard. Betrayed.
Not to mention Loki and Thor's ruse in Thor: The Dark World. We've all seen that Loki has been a master of illusions ever since he was a child. In Thor: The Dark World, Loki and Thor devise a plan to fake Loki's betrayal to save Jane Foster from the power of the ether and gain an advantage over the Dark Elves. And as part of the trick, Loki acts like he has cut off Thor's hand and given Jane to Malekith. They say trickery and lying aren't always bad, but with Thor's help, Loki's well-planned ruse is able to fool the Dark Elves, make a big dent in their numbers, and successfully get the ether out of Jane Foster's body. And not only that, but it also sets up another plan for the God of Mischief for later on.
I really don't see what all the fuss is about.
What's more, killing Agent Coulson in The Avengers. His escape from the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier cost Agent Coulson his life, but the fact that Loki killed him shows that he is a practical fighter who can win against all odds. You see, Loki isn't scared at all when Coulson shows up with a gun made from parts of the destroyer. Rather, he was able to get the upper hand on Coulson by stabbing him before Coulson could do anything else, and we see Loki showing us that he can take the easiest path when it's in his best interest, despite all of his complicated tricks and mind-bending treachery. On the other hand, Coulson's death has a short-term effect on the Avengers' morale, giving Loki the last bit of time he needs to call for the Chitauri invasion. Moving on to when Loki double-crossed Laufey in Thor. Soon after finding out that he was the son of Laufey, king of the Frost Giants, Loki goes to Jotunheim to give Laufey what seems to be a chance to kill Odin and take over Asgard for himself. But Loki actually has a much bigger plan in the back of his mind, as he wants to kill Laufey before he kills Odin. And in the end, Loki seems like a hero because he saved his father from dying. But if Thor hadn't come back from his exile on Earth to tell everyone about Loki's plan to get rid of him, it's likely that Loki's plan would have worked perfectly. Safe to assume this plan was one of Loki's first big acts of being a villain, and it shows that he'll play any side if it helps him win.
What more than that? The casket wasn't the only thing you took from Jotunheim that day, was it?
Now for Loki brainwashing Hawkeye in The Avengers. Loki doesn't waste any time when he gets to Earth through the Tesseract and puts the Mind Stone in his staff to use on Clint Barton. We would think he wouldn't have been able to do many things he did during this time as easily if he hadn't used Barton in the way he did. For example, he wouldn't have been able to sneak into a German museum's gala or attack the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier in the first place. But Loki knows that a plan is only as good as the people you put in charge of putting it into action. He then prepares for the Chitauri to attack New York with the help of Hawkeye, even though Hawkeye doesn't want to help. Not to forget, arriving with the Sakaran rebellion in Thor Ragnarok. We saw Loki coming to Asgard just in time with a ship full of Thor's friends, from his time in the gladiator pits of Sakaar, and we think this is one of his more honorable acts. Loki happily announced his arrival, and then he helped the people of Asgard leave their dying world and then joined Thor in fighting Hela's forces. Safe to say, he shows up in style and at the right time, giving his brother plenty of chances to fight Hela. Yes, Loki may have been an enemy of Asgard more than once, but this time he comes to help a group of people who are about to lose their homes. And without him, it would have been hard for Thor and Valkyrie to fight Hela and help the Asgardians escape the chaos that was coming. Coming up next, helping Thor escape Asgard in Thor: The Dark World. We all know how Loki has a tense relationship with his family, but when Thor needs help, he's always there for him, even when Thor doesn't expect it. When the Dark Elves attack Asgard and kill Loki's adoptive mother, Frigga, he feels helpless. But Thor asks his brother to help him catch the Dark Elves, and Loki jumps at the chance to get even with Frigga and find peace of mind. He then helps Thor and Jane Foster sneak out of Asgard without Odin noticing by using his inside knowledge of secret paths between the 9 realms. And this helps lead Thor to Svartalfheim, where the Dark Elves live, and sets Thor on the path to defeating the Dark Elves. Now let's look at when he replaced Odin in Thor: The Dark World and Ragnarok. In retrospect, it seems likely that Loki's dislike for Odin could have been fixed if Odin hadn't fallen asleep. Because of this, Loki couldn't fully hear Odin's side of the story about how he became Odin's son, and ended up thinking that Odin didn't really love him. The thing is, Loki is mostly driven by his troubled relationship with his adoptive father and his need to prove himself to him. But he finally beats Odin by sending him away from Asgard and changing into him by pretending to be dead and sneaking into Asgard as a soldier. As a result, Loki goes on to rule Asgard for many years, and Thor has no clue about this. But the most impressive thing about Loki's rule is that it is peaceful, and that he was able to keep up the act for so long. And when Thor reveals Loki's trickery in Ragnarok, the other people of Asgard are shocked. This shows that Loki's time as Odin fooled not only his brother, but also the rest of Asgard.
Unlimited power. And for what? A war like.
Lastly, escaping with the Tesseract in Avengers Endgame. It's fair to say that Loki doesn't pass up any chance to get the upper hand, even when he's being held by an enemy. As we saw in Endgame, Tony Stark and Ant-Man go back in time to try to steal the Space Stone, and at the same time, Loki is being taken away for leading the Chitauri invasion. He gets his chance though when the Hulk breaks through the wall after climbing the stairs, knocking Tony down and making a big mess. And he uses the fact that everyone is busy to sneak away with the Space Stone. Loki can always turn the tables and get the upper hand, even when he is muzzled and handcuffed. And one of the questions that we were expecting the Loki series to answer is, what happened to the Tesseract? Since it was the Tesseract that killed the first Loki. But we think we got the answer when the Infinity Stones were being treated as paperweights. In Thor Ragnarok, it was supposed to be destroyed in Asgard, but Loki couldn't stop himself from taking it before everyone left. Thanos found out where the Tesseract was and followed it to the Asgardians in space. And in the end, Loki sealed his own doom by making this move. As a result, Thanos was able to finish the snap and set the Avengers time heist in motion by taking the Space Stone out of the Tesseract. Snap, that's all for this video. What are your favorite Loki moments in the MCU? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content in the future. If you like this video, please share it with your family and friends, and click the notification bell to get notified when we upload new content. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
But I like this. Your world in the balance, and you bargained for one man.